Hey everyone, it's Jeff again. Welcome to our fifth session, our final session of Camp at Home. And today we're going to connect Compassion's gift of fresh starts to our breath and movement, our yoga time together. So remember, breath is the heart of yoga. It really is our body's way of receiving and releasing. And that's a good practice. And when we really focus on the ability to receive freely and release freely, we're more welcoming and accepting of others. So with that, surprise, we're going to start out in a seated posture again. So remember, you can sit on your mat, or you can sit in a chair, or you can stand. That would work too. So a really tall spine here. Heart bright, collarbones broad. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, let it out. And when we inhale, we're going to say, I am a part, and then exhale, of God's balance and fresh starts. Inhale, I'm a part, and exhale, of God's balance and fresh starts. Inhale, I'm a part, and exhale, of God's balance and fresh starts. And open your eyes. So yoga is a big part of balance. We come to our mat seeking balance and union with mind, body, and spirit, connection with God, deeper connection. And it's our way of recharging and resetting and resting, taking that time out for ourselves and for that time with God. And as we saw today in the reading, God really wants us to do that. So we're doing it right now, right on our mats, or maybe right out on your patio, whatever surface you're doing this on, it's still important that you're doing it. So from here, we're going to stand up in mountain pose, Tadasana, arms down along the side bodies. Remember to stack everything mindfully, knees over ankles, hips over knees, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. And take 3 rounds of breath here. And maybe you repeat in your mind, in mountain pose, we feel our strength, we are unshakable. In mountain pose, we feel our strength. We are unshakable. One more time. Mountain pose, we feel our strength. We are unshakable. And then eyes can open. Inhale, arms reach up and overhead for Urdhva Hastasana. Palms together. Exhale, fold forward into Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. We prepare and focus our eyes forward. And then exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms. We'll step back with the left foot, back with the right foot for plank. And you can take 3 breaths, 3 rounds of breath in your forward fold, 3 rounds of breath in plank, or maybe 1, whatever feels right to you. And then we'll slowly lower down, knees, elbows bend, hugging the side bodies, lower down to belly, chest, chin, and then inhale, press up with strong arms, heart forward into upward facing dog. And say, we face the sun and welcome with courage what the day holds for us. And maybe take 3 breaths here, or 1. And then curl the toes under. Inhale, shift the hips up and back for that upside down V shape, downward facing dog. And then inhale, right leg is going to lift up and press straight back. And then exhale, we're going to step it through to a lunge. Come up into Virabhadrasana 1, otherwise known as Warrior 1. So my front leg, my right leg, knee is bent right over the ankle. And that back foot kind of on an angle. I'm pressing down evenly through each foot. Maybe taking 3 rounds of breath here. Inhale. And then exhale, that right foot or left foot is going to pivot, so left toes turn to point towards the left edge of the mat. Right knee stays over right ankle, right toes are still pointing towards the top of your mat, and we come into Warrior 2. Virabhadrasana 1. So in Warrior 2, we open our arms to make room for everyone and everything. So keep that right knee right over the ankle, rooting down through the outer edge of that left foot, and reaching forward with that right arm, reaching back with the left arm, but not gripping with the fingers. And again, in Warrior 2, we are open with our arms to make room for everyone and everything. We stretch to see what is beyond us. But we're also in the moment and present. Talked about that in previous week, didn't we? Being in the moment, being present with ourselves, God, and others. One more breath here. In Warrior 2. And then exhale. Cartwheel the hands, frame the front foot. And then back or front foot steps back. So that right foot steps back and brings us into downward dog. And then inhale, left leg goes up and back. Exhale, steps it through to the lunge. Inhale, we rise up. And then exhale, that right foot, and it pivots out. That heel lowers down, and that right foot's kind of at an angle towards the long edge of the mat. Left foot is forward, toes pointing to the top of the mat. Left knee over ankle, and we come into Warrior 1 on this side. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. Inhale, and then exhale, come into Warrior 2 on this side. So maybe that right foot has to step back a little bit further. You want to feel just a nice comfortable stance. Heels are in line with each other. Left knee stays over the ankle, and the center of your kneecap is in line with the space between the second and third toes. Putting more weight on the outer blade of that foot And coming into Warrior Two, arms here. And once again, as we breathe here, you can say, in Warrior Two, we open up our arms to welcome, to make room for everyone and everything. We stretch to see what is beyond us. Warrior Two, we open our arms to make room for everyone and everything. So we're not closing off, we're making space, but we're still strong, we're still in the moment. We can honor the past with that backhand and anticipate the future and being welcoming and open with the front hand, but we're still present in the moment. With our breath and our bodies, we're very aware of both. One more breath. And then exhale. Cartwheel the hands, frame that front foot. That foot steps back into downward facing dog. And maybe you take 3 breaths here. Inhale, up on tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, look forward, and we're going to walk one step at a time, right up between the hands. Inhale, come up halfway, half flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, we're going to come up all the way, very slowly. Remember, never to rush. And we'll come up to mountain pose. And then from here, we're going to shift the weight off into that left foot, but keep this left hip really strong. So first, have equal weight between both feet. Press down through both feet, lift up through the arches, and keep the muscles really strong. When you press down through the 3 corners, lift up through the arches, you'll feel the muscles activate. So we're going to keep them active. And then we're going to bring the sole of that right foot to the inside edge of the left leg, just not on the side of the knee. Palms together in front of heart center. Press down continually through that left foot, lift up through the arch, draw the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Press the sole of that right foot into your left leg, leg into foot. And we'll take tree pose here, Vrikshasana. So maybe you find you're getting a little wobbly. So find a point you can focus your gaze on, something forward. In yoga we call it a drishti. Could be something forward. If you need a little bit of a challenge, maybe it's a point up on the ceiling or a point low on the floor if you're feeling that balance is a little tricky today. And tree pose teaches us to be patient, steady, and balanced. Whoa! A tree lives in the rhythm, in a rhythm with the world and its cycles, and it nourishes all living things. Think of how important trees and other plants are. And then maybe after 3 breaths here, we've probably been here longer than that, we can go over to the other side, but maybe you just kind of pedal the feet out here. Shake things out a little bit before going to the other side. And then get really tall, really strong, just as we did on the other side. Shift the weight into that right foot. Stay really strong though, and then bring that left foot to rest on the inside edge of that left leg. Just not to the side of the knee, anywhere above or below. And breathe here. Find your gaze point, a drishti. Again, If balance is a little unsteady, maybe you have something next to you, like a chair that you can steady on. You can draw your gaze low, that will help. And again, tree pose teaches us to be patient, steady, and balanced. And the tree lives in rhythm with the world and its cycles. It nourishes all living things. One more breath here. You can come out whenever you'd like. And then exhale, slowly draw back out, shake things out. And I think in our very first video, the first week of Compassion Camp, I mentioned that there were 3 warrior poses. So warrior 3, we didn't necessarily see that one, but I can show it to you before we end practice here. And you can just watch, maybe try it on your own. But warrior 3, we can start from a lunge position. You can start from several positions. You could start from tree pose, but the front foot, or in the case of tree pose, in that standing leg, the one that's bearing most of the weight here. Make sure the floor, you have good connection. My feet are really sweaty right now, so I'm a little bit of sliding on my mat here. So you want to be mindful of that. Inhale, get really strong, so press down through the front foot really evenly. Draw up through the crown of the head, hug your belly into spine and up towards the heart. And then exhale, we can hinge forward, let that left leg, the back leg fly, and press that left foot back as if you're pressing it into a wall. Maybe arms reach forward, maybe arms reach back, maybe palms together in front of heart center. And then inhale, back upright, maybe to tree, and then back to center. And then we'll have to do it on the other side. You want to do the asymmetrical poses on each side. So maybe I'll enter this one from tree. Inhale, get really tall, and then exhale. Shift back. So a slight bend in that standing leg, slight bend in the knee. Pressing into that imaginary wall with the back foot, maybe arms reaching back, maybe out to the sides, maybe reaching forward for superhero, really brave here. Maybe you have a chair right in front of you and your hands are holding onto the chair. That's a good way to practice warrior 3. And then come back up to center, back to mountain pose. Pause to notice there. And then inhale, arms reach up and overhead, palms together. Exhale, they come down to heart center. Head bows slightly towards the fingertips. Eyes are closed. The light in me recognizes and honors the light within each of you. Namaste. So, oftentimes, we'll end yoga practice in a final resting pose called Shavasana. Just like so. And that's an option that is pretty frequent at the end of yoga classes. And then before we rise up to a seat, we draw our knees in towards each other, roll onto the right side body in what we would call a fetal position, resting our head on that upper right arm, just like a pillow. Legs are bent, knees are stacked, and this posture, this fetal position, symbolizes new beginnings, so fresh starts once we leave our mats. And then we would inhale, back up. Then we can come to a seated posture and say namaste. Namaste. And isn't that a good thought? Each time we leave our yoga mats, it's a fresh start. Thanks for being here. I so enjoyed doing this with you. And as always, if you enjoyed this practice, maybe you watched it first. I would recommend that before doing it yourself. Watch it and do the poses along with me. And maybe you do that a couple more times this week. So yoga's a practice, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It meets you where you are. So glad to have you here. Take care.